Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I'm joined by Chris from Ben Studio. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining me. We are talking about Days Gone. There's the logo right here. You guys, this is a very exciting time because we showed a little bit of footage from Days Gone running on PlayStation 4 Pro hardware. Tell me a little bit about what the Pro hardware not only means to you as a developer, but also kind of to specifically the project that you guys have been working on.
Well, for Days Gone, it's really exciting working with the PS4 Pro. What it's really providing us now is a visual clarity that we haven't been able to see before. It's just super astounding. So the details of the environment really pop now. The character details, the color, the vibrancy of it. It's just amazing. And when we first got it up and running and put it out in front of the team, it was a game changer. It was a jaw-dropping experience.
Jaws were on the floor.
Yeah.
and then tell me a little bit about the specific technologies of the PS4 Pro that you guys feel like have been most beneficial to you as a studio.
Well, I mean, the resolution, increase in resolution has been that was the first step, getting that up and running, and that was great. And again, it's like our character artist came in and saw Deacon and actually could see all the stitching detail.
Tears running down their face.
In the clothing and everything. So all that detail that they had been working on is now, absolutely
That's amazing.
Stunning.
So it's not even on the technical side, but it's also like, these are the kind of technologies that also, from an artistic perspective, put that stuff out there more in front of the player as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and it's an open world environment, so we have a lot of scenes where you're going into dark interiors to bright exteriors. So trying to manage that exposure and lighting, on a SDR TV, regular TV, is pretty tough. We do a lot of work to make that feel right.
Sure.
But then when we put HDR in, all of that just becomes natural. It's like you're looking out the window of your office, which in our case in Bend is what you see in the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this game just based on your office and the surrounding environment? I mean, it's gorgeous.
Some of it, most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And I think that's actually the point you made about looking out of a window. I think that's one of the best ways to illustrate what HDR can do, is sort of that ability to more naturally show off to the player like what the human eye can see, right?
Yeah.
Because anytime you try and take a picture and you're like, you can either get the window or you can get what's behind the window.
Yeah.
But here, you kind of, when you guys are panning that camera by, and it's just incredible, the lighting effects. I mean, what is that like for teams like your lighting team, your art team? I mean, is that like just like open up new tools for them to use when it comes to game development?
It really does, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, our goal from the beginning was to have, a visual realism in the environment, that we've always been striving for. So once we turn on HDR, the colors that the artists have been putting a lot of work in and trying to balance all that stuff all just naturally comes out.
Yeah. And now, what about in terms of, obviously, the Pro hardware is a little more powerful. People and developers are able to achieve more stable performance.
Right.
Is that must be particularly pertinent in an open world game, because open world game is very demanding. Your game is, may I say, looking very nice. So that, of course, is a strain on the hardware. But with the Pro hardware, I mean, suddenly you guys can play around a little bit more. I mean, is that of benefit to your team as well?
It is a benefit. I mean, and even for gamers that haven't upgraded to 4K yet, they're still going to get a huge benefit, visual benefit. Even
that's an important point.
It is, because in 1080p, now on PS4 Pro looks amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the game then. If someone's just, let's say they just tuned in.
Right.
This is the first time they've ever seen Days Gone. Give me the full summary on what players can expect here.
So Days Gone, it's an open world game. It's about Deacon St. John.
This handsome fella right here.
Yes, exactly. He's a drifter bounty hunter. It's 2 years after a global pandemic that's wiped out the world. And his background, he comes from MC, so he's rough and tough as it is and been through a lot, but now he's going through a lot more. The world is super dangerous, and it's just sort of following his journey.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys first revealed this at E3 this year, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And I mean, that must have been a spectacular feeling for you guys to have worked on something for so long and then you finally get to show it off, right?
It was awesome.
Now, in terms of dealing with kind of an open world, obviously this gentleman is using a motorcycle to get around. I mean, that must play a role in the game design that you guys are putting together.
It absolutely does. You know, again, this is 2 years after everything went wrong.
Went sour.
Yeah.
Went real
really,
south.
really bad. So, you know, the roads have deteriorated. You know, being able to get around and be very maneuverable. Deacon, being a biker on a bike, can get around in that environment much, much easier.
Does that mean that the way that your team sort of lays out the world, like building things, I mean, does that actually change the way that they're creating environmental design? I mean, does the
absolutely.
Transportation informs that back and forth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All that's taken into account.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, does that mean that if your gentleman here, Deacon, can get around on a motorcycle, do you guys suddenly have to build, like, start to get bigger and bigger? Because, I mean, you're dealing with fast transportation here.
Right.
I mean, how do you take that into account?
I mean, it's just a matter of, you know, coming up with interesting environments that he has to traverse, but the bike also plays a big part in setting up for whatever mission he's about to take on, right? So it's about carrying supplies with him, but also being very nimble. You know, being able to get out of a situation.
It's your mobile HQ.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the combat. Actually, we're kind of seeing on the screen here that using the Molotov cocktails, which of course look great on the Pro hardware.
Yeah.
But a little bit about the combat design in Days Gone. I mean, how is Days Gone separate from other, you know, third-person open-world games?
Well, again, we're paying a special attention to the environment. You know, we're calling it sort of this sandbox combat. So it's really up to the player looking at the environment, seeing how he can take advantage of it, craft specific weapons based on what's around him, and bring those kind of weapons into the battle with them. So there's a lot of preparation, you know, to take into account, especially when you're going up against, as you see, the Horde.
Do you feel like hoarders and people that like to collect stuff are going to get a kick out of this?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Just scavenging through the environment. I mean, there must be a survival element to this game as well, considering that, as we have discussed, the world has kind of fallen to pieces.
Yes,
and Deacon has to make do with what he's got.
Yep.
Does that inform your guys' design in terms of weapons, items, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a natural progression, you know, as you progress through the story. And
anything you can share with us in terms
yet.
We're so close.
I know, so close.
Okay, well, before we wrap up, I kind of want to know, in terms of you as a developer, you know, what do you take away from the PS4 Pro hardware, and what do you feel like has been really beneficial to you guys as a team?
It really has. I mean, it's...
Anything in particular, like any specific elements that you feel like you guys were like, wow, this was it?
When we got HDR running, that was
the turning point?
That was the moment.
Okay.
It really was a game changer.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for joining me today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And of course, thank you to all of you watching at home. Just a quick reminder that a lot of this amazing footage that Chris and I are chatting about will be available to view in 4K in the days to come on Video on Demand and including on YouTube. So please stay tuned for that. Also, please stay tuned, because we are going to be hearing from some of the top developers at Worldwide Studios and beyond about some of the ways they are able to leverage the PS4 Pro to create heightened experiences for you, the video gamer. So please do not go anywhere. We have more to show you coming up. Stay with us.
PlayStation